Alright, so this might be kind of a long video with just a lot of talking, but I'll try and keep it moving along. People have done tier lists about literally everything, it seems. I haven't looked for it specifically, but I have never seen someone actually do a tier list ranking their own guitar collection. Maybe that's seen as a bit of a forbidden thing because it's a bit too close to picking a favorite child, but I'm gonna attempt to do it anyways. I might regret doing so, but we'll see. I won't get much into detail talking about each guitar specifically. That's what the Guitar Tales series is about. But this will just be, kind of putting them all in their different categories and giving my general thoughts on each one. So I'm going to hop right in. Categories. There is lifers. That's the ones that, with the exception of some crazy emergency happening, I am never going to get rid of them. For one reason or another, I have a very specific attachment to them, and I am holding on to those forever. Absolute shredder. This is the category for the ones that play amazing. I love them, but maybe they don't have whatever makes the lifers just that much more special to me. Then riff machine. This is kind of an adjacent category to absolute shredders, not really better or worse, just a different category, whereas the shredders may make me want to improvise or record stuff with, just generally pick up and play. Riff machines are more, for some reason, their attitude or the way they play inspires me to write riffs with them. Then we have has a niche. These are the ones that maybe I don't play very much, but there's a specific thing they do that none of my other guitars do. It's the whole reason I have them. And whenever I'm recording or need a guitar that gives me a very specific mood for playing, there's certain guitars that I may gravitate towards for that specific situation. Undecided. This category is for unfinished projects. They're guitars that I'm not really sure what I'm going to think of them until they're completed. And then, thin the herd. I'm going to give myself a challenge here. I have too many guitars. And there are some that just don't really get played for one reason or another. Maybe I got another guitar that has kind of overshadowed it, or I got it thinking I would like it and I don't. Whatever the case may be, I am going to challenge myself to get rid of at least, we'll say, 2, because I already kind of have in mind 1. So I'm going to say it needs to be at least 2, maybe 3, that I'll either sell or give away or whatever I decide to do. They're ones that I'm not going to keep. So, without further ado, I'm going to hop right into it. I have a hat here with pieces of paper in it, folded with the names of each guitar on them, and I'm going to literally pick blindly from the hat. So it's all random, and we'll just see how this goes. Alright, so first up, what do we got? Stagemaster 7. Alright, interesting one to start out with. I am going to put that solidly in the riff machine category. That is now my go-to guitar for 7-string shenanigans. Next, the Agile. Alright, my gold top. Now this one could go in one of two categories. It's my only guitar that has P90s, well, at least full P90s. So it definitely would fit in the niche category. It's also great for riff writing. It seems to inspire something every time I play it, but I'm going to put it in the niche category because I really like soloing on it as well. Alright, what do we got next? Main Street Acoustic. This is one that I got in an estate sale, and it is honestly junk, but what I'd like to do with it is turn it into, I don't know if y'all have seen the shelves that people make out of guitars, where you cut the top off and you put 2 or 3 shelves inside the guitar, then you hang it on the wall. I've already made one of those, and I like how it turned out, so that one's going to get the same treatment. I could put it in undecided, but I already know what I'm going to do with it, and it's basically getting rid of it. It's no longer going to be a guitar when I'm finished, so I'm putting that in thin to herd, but it doesn't really count as one of the ones that I will be parting with. Alright, what do we got next? RGX A2. Awesome guitar. Do I put it in the absolute shredder or riff machine? I'm putting that in the shredder category. It plays excellent, and it's hands down the lightest guitar I've ever played or owned. Next, Hello Kitty. Also shredder, I would say. Fantastic guitar. The Parallax. That's a hard one. You know what? I'm also going to put that in the shredder category. That's my go-to guitar when it comes to active pickups, but I could put it in niche, but it just plays too well. Next up, Alpha. Alright, that's a no-brainer. That one's going in the lifer category. If y'all haven't seen the Guitar Tales video on that, that's the first guitar that my dad and I built together, and it's one of my favorites, hands down. Ibanez Lefty RG. That's another estate sale guitar, and I'm going to put that in undecided. I will probably end up pulling the neck off of it for a build, but I think I want to try and make a video on attempting to play a left-handed guitar, and I'll probably use that for that video. What's next? Zigzag 1. That's hard. That was the first guitar that I really did a major hot rod overhaul project with. I'm gonna put that in riff machine. It sounds great, but doesn't play quite as well as some of my others, and it's definitely not special enough. It's special to me, but not enough to put in lifer. Bronco. Alright, that's going in the niche category. That is my go-to bass guitar. The Squamic. That is a Samick guitar with a Squire neck. And I'd say that also goes in the niche category. I don't play it a whole lot, but if I do need a single coil bridge pickup for something, or an actual Stratocaster vibe, that's what that guitar is for. Next, the Frankie. Ooh. Yeah, we'll put that in absolute shredder. That guitar was a joy to build. Next up, Stagemaster Deluxe. Riff machine. We'll go with that. It plays great, but not as great as I would like it to for soloing. The truss rod is a bit stripped out, so it's hard to adjust the neck relief. And because of that, I can't get the action as low as I would like. But it is a great riff writing guitar, and it sounds awesome. Next, The Guitarlele. That's a niche guitar, if you even call it a guitar. Carvin. We may have another lifer here. I'm hoping to do a Guitar Tales video on that one soon, but that is a insanely good guitar. Alvarez Dana. I would say undecided. It's not that it's a unfinished project. It does make a really good guitar for like a pickup test bed or something. And it is fun to play. I'll put it in undecided. I don't know. Next up, Charlie. That was my third build. I'm going to put it in Riff Machine. It plays well for riffing. Has very narrow frets on it though, so not much of a shredder. Then we have the Firefly. I will say that's a Riff Machine. Great looking guitar as well. Next, the Traveler. Okay. Thin the Herd. So this one I got as a bit of a impulse buy. I bought it to keep at work, but once I had it there, found that I didn't really use it much, and it's probably the most uncomfortable guitar to play I've ever come across. If you put the leg rest on it, it sits too tall. If you don't have the leg rest on it, it's too low. And the way it's designed is interesting, and it's cool that they kept the full scale length while still being able to shorten the guitar quite a bit. But being that the headstock's basically on the back of the guitar, if the strings aren't cut just right, they'll scratch up your belly when you play it. So I had put a humbucker in it. I may pull that out for another project and get rid of the Traveler. Next, Wolfgang. Well, that's got to be a lifer. Amazing playing guitar. Moving on, A3R. Also a lifer. That is my number one acoustic. What do we got next? DK24. Goodness, back-to-back lifers here. DK24 was my dream guitar for the longest time. I finally was able to get one for a price I was willing to pay, and hands down ever since then it has been my number one. PV Patriot. That is a very oddball guitar. 23 fret, 80s US made, stripped down, really cool old guitar. We'll put that in the Riff Machine category. Next, SE150. Now this is actually the guitar that the Zigzag 1 started out as. I don't really need two of the same guitar. I could get rid of it, or I could keep it for a test project, just like the Alvarez, so I'm going to put it in undecided. Next, we got the Pacifica, another lifer. Again, if you've seen the Guitar Tales series, no further description needed there. That was my first guitar, or first electric anyway. That guitar is just part of me. Next up, 335. This is a J Tercer. I will put that in has a niche, because whenever I play it, it just inspires a real, not really bluesy side, but it has this very classic demeanor to it. And personally, I think the 335, just in general, is one of the prettiest, classiest looking guitars out there. So it gives me an attitude that none of the others do. Plus, it plays great for what it is. Next, FG Junior. This is another one that y'all have never seen on the channel. I bought it for, I think, like $10 from a guy at a medicine shop, of all things. I reshaped the headstock on it, and then the bridge started lifting up. So I haven't worked with it since then. It's just been kind of a decoration hanging up over my workspace. So I will put that in the undecided category. The blue Beretta is next. Absolute shredder. Gotta be. That is a great guitar. EG-112C, another estate sale guitar. That one will probably get turned into another build. I'll take the neck and electronics and everything out of it and make a custom body for it. Coincidentally, Alpha was made from the same kind of guitar. They're great bases for project guitars, and you can find them for dirt cheap. Alright, FG-830. That is an amazing guitar, but I can't put it in the same category as the A3. I'm going to put this in as a niche. When it comes to playing acoustics, I don't play it very much anymore because of having the A3, but it's an amazing guitar, no less. I keep it at my parents' house these days so that I have a guitar to play when I go to visit them. So we'll put it in the niche category. Great guitar, though. Next, we've got Memphis Strat. That is, yet again, undecided. I'm thinking of doing another Van Halen, like Frankie style build with it. Next, we got Kahler Strat. Now, it's not actually a Kahler branded Strat. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it has like a off-brand Kahler style trem on it. So that's what I call it. It was another estate sale guitar, also going in undecided. Next, Hornet. Alright, that's solidly in the shredder category. That was a very fun guitar to build, and I would put it completely equal with the Frankie and the blue Beretta. Next, Baltimore Strat. Yet another one from the estate sale. Another future project, so undecided. Harmony Bass. Alright, you know what? That's another Thin the Herd guitar. It's a really cool old 70s short scale bass, but ever since I got my Squire Bronco, I just haven't used it. Next, the Samick Avion. That is a purpose-built riff guitar. Next up, Fender Gemini. Alright, well that automatically goes in lifer category. Not because it's one of my greatest players, but just because of it being my first guitar. RGX 110. That one's another one I hope to do a Guitar Tales on soon. That is a riff machine for sure. Moving on, we have Bravo. Alright. That was my second build. That is a riff machine to its core. I pretty much keep it in a drop tuning of some kind, and that is a ripper when it comes to riff writing. Next, Eterna Pacifica. It's an Eterna, not a Pacifica, but they're pretty much the same thing. That is another estate sale guitar. Undecided. Again, I will probably harvest the neck and everything from it for a future project. APX T2. That is a niche guitar. That is my travel acoustic. What do we got? The gray Beretta. Alright, that's a lifer. It's the exact same guitar as the blue one, but I did a bunch of mods to it, and it is just as good of a playing guitar as any of the others in the lifer category. I'd say it's actually on par with the Charvel, almost, just not as versatile. PVTR7. That is the very weird 21 fret 7-string PV Predator that I have. That's a difficult one. I'm gonna put that in undecided, actually. Similar circumstance to the Yamaha SE and the Alvarez. They're not ongoing projects, but ever since I got the Stagemaster 7-string, the PV has kind of been on the back burner. but at the same time, it's such a cool oddball guitar that I really don't want to get rid of it. So I don't know. Undecided is where it's going to go. Next, we got Delta. That's my ongoing build project. I'm hoping that one turns out nicely, but for now, that automatically goes in undecided. Next, we got the Eros. That is going in Riff Machine. It might not play quite as good as some of the other ones in that category, but it is such an inspiring guitar to play, and it sounds amazing. Oh, and I'm on the last one. All right, what do we have last? Silvertone Acoustic. Okay, that one is going to get the same treatment as the Main Street, so that one goes in Thin the Herd as well. Okay, and there we have it. I think that's a pretty good ranking. The Gitalele could also be one that I could probably part with, but I'm going to keep it as a niche instrument for now because it's kind of fun. So I'll keep things how they are. So yeah, that's me ranking my own guitars in a tier list. I'm thinking maybe eventually I use this as a reference or comparison. I'd like to do eventually a kind of like an Anderton's style blindfold test, if you're familiar with those, where maybe I have someone here with me while I make the video and they hand me my different guitars and I see if I can guess what they are, or if I can't, at least say like, oh, I like this one more than whatever one I just played, that sort of thing. And then maybe afterwards I could compare the ranking of how I think about my guitars when I look at them and play them versus how I think about them when I'm just playing them. A lot of them I feel like I could probably just pick out by playing it and being like, oh, that's definitely whatever guitar. But I doubt I could do that with every single one. So that might be an interesting thing to kind of experiment with, is like, okay, how much do we play with our eyes even when it's our own guitars? I don't know. Gives me some ideas. But anyways, thanks for sitting through this whole thing if you've made it through the whole thing. I don't know how long it's going to end up being once I edit it down, but thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.